in order to present this campaign, how should we approach this? How can we take these characters that are of a medium difficulty? They're not as easy as Tianis's Tionat. It is not Tianice as Tianice's characters were, because they were almost, I mean, they weren't childhood friends, but they've all known each other for quite some time. Here we have some bonds built, but definitely not like the Thugs and Kisses campaign from last week, where we had 5 individuals who were perhaps even spies themselves for this, invading empire, who had to find a way to stick together through everything that they're doing. And it's almost like their web of lies catches each other, and it made this kind of like tumbleweed as they continued on through the story. It's cheese and chopped up peppers. What's not to like? I agree, Bubonic. It's good stuff. But Delcorn has to be a stick in the guac. So poppers are good, but they tend to set my mouth on fire. No, not a raging desert heat, but still hot. It sounds like you have what the Japanese call a cat's tongue. Someone with a cat's tongue doesn't tend to like hot foods. I mean, there is the whole you being a tabaxi thing, Delcorin. So, how would we go about running a campaign like this? Because remember now, we're DMs. We have our DM hats on. And we want to sit down and run a really good campaign for our players. Which, I'm trying to make things a little bit too big there. There we go. And in Discord, we're having a conversation about it, where it just seems like many campaigns don't turn out how the players or maybe even the DMs seem to like it. Oh yeah, Del, the Tyson's Buffalo Wings are like, that's your jam right there. And even that hit. Even that heat makes me swear to every deity I can think of. Well, I'm glad that's your sweet and spicy spot. Scottish bonnets. Those can be some really, like, underdog peppers. A lot of people aren't familiar with them. They're like, oh yeah, it sounds like whatever. And you have them, and yeah. And, yeah, I think Jamaican Jerk does tend to use those. And some other things. I get that on occasion out at BW3. Their new sauce, so Delcorin, if you get a chance to go out to BW3, try their Crimson Crush. It's kind of citrusy. Has a little bit of spice to it, but it's on their low side, in my humble opinion. I think you'd really like it. I'm not a fan of peppers, but you do like buffalo chicken. Yeah, you can always, throw a little bit of ranch on there, too, to help cool it off. Sorry. So I was thinking, how could we as DMs plot out a game that we know we want to take from level 1 to 20 over any amount of time, right? Because we're going to use milestones. We're not going to worry about experience points. We're not interested in playing accounting mini games with EXP. How can we make a compelling campaign that our players, who are playing these very interesting characters in almost a reverse harem situation, how can we do this? Oh, that's right, Del. It's so weird. I keep forgetting, because you live in a college town that's lost, like, all its restaurants. It's absolutely baffling. And so one good way of doing this, and this is something that I find myself doing as I run my campaigns. They usually last a year and a half. We go from level 1 to 20, if at all possible. Or in 4th edition, we'd go to level 30 because that system was built to take you to level 30. Oh, nice. Quaker Steak and Lube. Oh, hit up their buffet on Tuesdays, man. Oh, that's the stuff. Their Arizona Gold is a really good sauce. I mean, take it from me. Like, I've eaten some wings in my day. And let's go off of the excitement that we feel as a DM, right? We're struck with an idea, or our friends make some really compelling characters, and we want to move forward with that. And we have an idea of how it starts. You know, we're going to, in fact, we could even pre-game this, right? So that this is our prelude. You know, we're going to get everyone together. They're level 1, but is this really going to be the thing that tips us from level 1 to 2? Maybe not, but this is what we need to do. We're going to get everyone together. We're going to spotlight each character as they form the party. And what you can do is this. Katamari Damacy style. If you're familiar with that game, you start with something small and you roll it into something else, and now you have 2 things rolling around. Then 3 things, then 4 things, then 10 things. And this ball gets bigger and bigger and bigger as you keep rolling it around. Castaways at QSL attached to it. Trust me, QSL is good. Dark Wolf, do they have the Tuesday buffet at that Quaker Steak? I thought it was run kind of differently because it was a Cedar Point operation. We here where I live have one of the oldest single-owner college delis in the U.S. Oh. So I bet there's some really good, like, local sandwiches that one specializes in. Man, now I'm going to have to switch this over to public eating or whatever. Outback, Cracker Barrel, Texas Roadhouse, Olive Garden, Red Lobster, Applebee's. Hosses, I've not heard of Hosses. Jersey Mike's, I saw a commercial for them when I was at BW3. They make subs, right? That's about it, other than your standard fast food joints. Biggest sub here is 12 ounces of sliced meat. Ooh. Ooh. Ah. And what was I saying? Oh, yeah. Food. Level 3 is their con queso. Not sure about the buffet. I usually get a buffalo chicken wrap from them. Ah, okay. Yeah, it's an interesting market for you, Del. So here, with this Katamari Damacy style, we're giving the spotlight to a character, and they're going to run into another character. And then that character, these 2 characters are going to get swept up, and the spotlight's going to be on the second. And where's that going to take us to the third? And we go from there. And we can almost present them in a way that we generated them naturally. So we have Raqami, who, you know, we start the narrative and is in the cave, and there's some soul interaction, right? Because no one else is around. At this point in time, Grimhilder shows up, and we have some interaction at the table during this pregame. And Raqami decides, yeah, Grimhilder knows what she's doing, and this is part of who I am and what I want to be. And so they head out, but they don't get too far before they see Lokiadius, who has apparently been looking for just such a people. And we follow him, and Lentilli was perhaps in another area buying supplies or doing something along those lines. And finally, we get to Bess, who could be encountered along the road or in a marketplace or some other location like that. And now we've balled everyone up together. We've given each of our players a spotlight, and we've had a little bit more organic of a party coming together for cohesion. She wants to chase knowledge. She'll definitely go along. Lentilli is following Raqami. Raqami is following Grimhilder. and Lokiadius and Grimhilder are kind of in a race for the same thing. This is all going to go very smoothly. We don't have to set some mega hook and, you know, with piano wire as our line. We can just, you know, put a little bait in the water and they'll just swim right along and get it as DMs. Yeah. Na 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 katamari damasi. Delcorn says, we used to have a Cece's Pizzeria, but I think the drunk college kids drove them out of business. Kind of hard to make a $5 pizza buffet viable with drunk kids. Yeah, especially if they're open late, too. You can order the Carnivore Challenge for $25. It's 24 ounces of roast beef, Virginia ham, pastrami, corned beef, and 4 ounces of cheese, all on a 16-inch French bread bun. Wow. Oh, that is, that's pretty intense, man. Of all these restaurants, the only ones I've even heard of are Outback, Olive Garden, Red Lobster, and KFC, says Clark. Well, so don't you have, I don't know, Clark, out your way, don't you have, like a Tim Hortons or something? And I'll tell you what, Clark, especially the corned beef. Carnivore Challenge. Oh man, that is a challenge. I'll tell you though, we're all missing out because Clark is getting access to some high quality poutine, and if you haven't tried that before, oh, you're missing out. Good comfort food. Very good comfort food. It's called Shortstop. It's the original. I can't say I've heard of other shortstops aside from the baseball reference, bubonic, so I definitely take your word for it. Oh, that reminds me, have any of you heard of a place called Denny's Beer Barrel Pub? They were on a Food Network show called Man vs. Food. They have huge challenge burgers, like 5 pounds. Oh my gosh. I haven't heard of it, but no. The closest thing like that around me is there's a local pizzeria that will bring out what's called a Kong pizza. And if you can finish that, you get your picture on the wall. Literally none of these restaurants are where I am. Well, talk about some of your local... yeah, there's a Tim's. I mean... but if you have some local specialty restaurants or something, Clark, let us know. Come on, we're getting apparently in the spirit of celebrating St. Patrick's Day, where we may have drank something. I'm drinking tea myself, but apparently we're also getting hungry and quite possibly to fall into a wonderful stupor afterwards because you get the itis, right? Oh, you get full and then you sit back and your body says, oh, we're not moving for 6 to 8 hours. And you say, okay. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. It is poutine. Mais oui. Got a Reuben today with you. Oh, yeah, yeah. Bubonic is getting breakfast for dinner. Get out of here. No, breakfast for dinner is good stuff. So now we have everyone together. What do? We have a level 1 challenge of some kind. Level 1, you're not really supposed to, like... It's a start. The game's not really built for you to linger in level 1 much, if at all. You know, if you want to say, even after your first session, okay, you guys are at least level 2 now. That's understandable. Something like this, a good level 1 adventure, is some kind of a challenge it takes everyone to get over. So, if we're in Mesomasca, and the party's getting together to go to a location for something, usually some kind of a raid or attack that's indicative of a larger conflict to come. You don't tell your players that parenthetical phrase. You throw some bandits at them, and they say, "Oh, bandits, we'll put these people down." Meanwhile, the bandits are there because they were sent there, or they're victims of circumstance. You know, their village burned down, but no one really knows about it yet, and so they had to, like, scrap and try and survive. So here we have our start, right? We say as DMs, yeah, we're gonna get everyone together. Oh, I'm loving this. There's like a weird love triangle / rivalry / whatever going on. And then, of course, you say, all right, by the end, our players are going to be cohesive, and they're going to go against the big bad evil guy. That may very well be true. I would highly recommend... hang on one second. There we go. The bad guy, especially in a situation like this, and especially if we're keen DMs and we see, here's the big bad evil guy right here. Lokiadis is going to be providing us. This is going to provide him moral conflict because he's getting a ride pretty much through the party. He doesn't really have a lot of conflict. You know, none of the ladies in the party are really interested in him. And so he's going to have a unique conflict of his own and a way to prove himself and his loyalties or his dedication. Your big bad evil guy isn't always the big bad evil guy at the very end of the story. What a twist. Here we find out in this conflict that this urchin friend all along was doing something because he was being compelled to. Now, do we want to set this up as like a three-way standoff between each of the warlock packs? So maybe his urchin friend fell into a pact of the Archfey? Maybe. Or, if we want, because we've developed this area to be under the threat of this external force of the Empire, maybe he was being used by this Empire. Sorry, one second here. And really, we need to go and clean up the legacy that was left behind for us. You know, will his death be in vain? Or will the party get him as a follower? Hey, Jam, welcome. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you. So Dark Wolf got the Reuben. Okay, that was the breakfast for dinner. Corned beef is my favorite type of meat. I had homemade waffles last night, says Bubonic. You don't get enough. And Bubonic craves pastrami. A Mesomasca Raid? Ah, okay. I think... I think I get what you're going for, Dark Wolf. So keep that in mind. King, I'm 100% wrong on this. Level 1 PCs require years of rigorous training to stop being peasants. Every level 1 fighter in D&D has at least 6 years of fighter's college. Clark says, so I'm in a pretty small town. We basically only have a few run-of-the-mill fast food joints. McDonald's, Tim's, Subway. There's a couple Chinese buffets, but that's literally like $70 a head. Wow, really? That's really expensive for a Chinese buffet. Unless you have, like... Are your Chinese buffet, like, the really, really good stuff? Are they actually serving duck? Or something along those lines. Babaka's campaign set in Persia during the Mongol conquests. Mages and clerics have at least 8 years of servitude. Now, Delcorin, is everyone going to get hungry? Or are they going to get hangry? Clark says, I've been to Pittsburgh, though, and would smuggle the entirety of Primanti Bros back across the border if it were possible. I have not had them. Hey, and Dark Wolf is having some queso also. Everything sandwiches. So do they make like paninis or something? That's cool of you to do, Clark. If you like Primanti Bros, you should stop by a place called Are You Hungry in State College. It's similar but bigger. Get a sandwich with onion rings, fries, mozzie sticks, and other crazy items. Oh. King, you're absolutely correct. If you do it around 15, or especially 16, we're talking in a meta sense as DMs, not in a purely poetic or writing sense. At 16, your characters presumably have hit their 4th ability score increase. They're going to be powerful. And by that point, they're going to want to kick some butt. And especially if they just got juiced up with a new feat or some ability score increases, unleash them on the BBEG around this time, or who they think it is. Geez, if they're charging $70 a head, I'd hope they weren't that bad, Clark. By the by, King or anyone else who's lurking, we're talking food. During the break, I got some chili con queso. That's tonight's salsa, and we've been on a bit of a food kick. It probably doesn't hurt that it's St. Patrick's Day also. Aha! Bubonic. It's my turn. I do not enjoy sauerkraut. There you go. So, I'm sorry, to get back. As you're planning your milestones, if you're using this to level up your characters, you need to get them to some other goals along the way. You don't like sauerkraut either, but I still like Primanti's. It's a very mild sauerkraut. Oh, okay. I know some people put brown sugar in sauerkraut. That can kind of take the edge off. Oh, slaw is worse. Now, ultimately, one of the things that we as DMs are going to have to consider for the party I would let others die to recover an ancient relic of my faith that was lost long ago. And you know, that's an excellent goal right around here. And there's a particular reason for that. In fact, let's put it at 8. Bing, bing, bing. We go through 8 levels of some party strain, some adventuring, and things like that, to then see the end. Oh, here we go. We've played for almost 10 levels, which, by the way, on the average, parties only last 10 levels in the broad metadata of D&D. So if you go 20 levels, you are a statistical outlier. For Dark Wolf, kraut is okay as long as it's a small amount on a Reuben. Bobby says it's like onions for me. I would never eat an onion, but I need them on my sandwiches. He's allergic to cabbage, really? I've not heard of that allergy before. Oh, by the way, King, that was a very fun broadcast last night for the 3-5 adventure. I don't think it ended necessarily in the way that they had hoped, but it was very interesting to follow along in that conflict. Now, the revelation to Lokiadius, that this other urchin in his bond is the BBEG, should follow a couple levels after here, because you really want your players to be upset at this character. You know, this masked character comes swooping in, steals the end game goal that they had gone for, and so there should be some kind of reorganization level, and this could be through a skill challenge, narrative time, overland travel of some kind, reorganization, pursuit, path to conflict, and revelation that BBEG is dun dun dun. Oh no! I should mention, on my very small campus, there's a little diner that has some of the best homemade comfort food I've ever tried. What are some of your favorites from there, Clark? And what makes them stand out to you? Yeah, he loves Reubens, but can't keep them down because of the kraut. Aw. And you might see some cycles here. Now, right, something big happens. Then that causes us to reorganize our thoughts, make a plan. We pursue that plan. That is going to set us on a path to conflict, and then we're going to have the conflict in order to get the prize at the end, whether it's a physical treasure or it is a major revelation of some kind. any of these steps we can vary by having it be a dungeon, have it be a skill challenge, have it just be an awesome all-out role play. Like, no dice are rolled. When you get to the point where you play D&D games and barely any dice are rolled at all, that is, you're in the upper tiers. When you can have entire sessions of conflict and resolution and narration without even really needing to roll any dice. And so you can see the cycle take place. These can manifest in different ways, and I would encourage you, think differently about each of these steps along the way. Don't just have a random encounter for the sake of having a random encounter. If you have a random encounter, that should be indicative of something greater in the world. Right? So we had, like this. That the party has just gotten together after Katamari Dama seeing each of them with a spotlight here. And this is going to then allow you to bring flavor to your world. Why are there a bunch of bandits in the countryside now? You know, what did the Thieves Guild get ousted, and so all these thieves are just roaming the countryside? Is it because of something else? Now you're world building, and you can use it to very subtly, outside of the direct sites and question lines and all of that, you can use it to build this world that you're a part of. Mom and pops are always the best food. My dad's ex-best friend was a Navy cook. When I was younger, I went to his deli and always got a free sub. Oh, that's cool, Bubonic. Clark says, poutine, burgers, and soup are the best. Everyone on campus thinks of her as kind of like a grandmother because of how kind she is and how the food tastes. Feels like you're eating at grandma's every single time. Oh, that's really cool, Clark. That is going to lead us to our very end conflict with the big fight with the actual puppet master style BBEG. Is he an agent of this external empire that is trying to overtake Mesotopia? Is the BBEG someone who's trying to manipulate the party specifically, or is just trying to pursue on a third rail the same goals? Remember, we have a warlock of 2 of the 3 packs. Would his urchin friend have been from the 3rd pact, and the pact, kind of a pact war, is a red herring? Hey, these are things for us to think about here. Because, hey, after with the conflict with the BBG, we learn, oh, he's not? Well, we need to find out some more information, right? We need to then pursue our plan. And this plan is going to lead us on a path of conflict. It's going to take us through a trapped dungeon. It's going to take us through forgotten caves and tombs. This path to conflict might even be straight up battlefield style mass combat. But you as the DM are making it compelling. You've taken the same cycle. You've taken the same cycle, and you've just made beginnings and ends, and you've made 3 milestones along the way that when your players hit them, they're going to level up. Each of these, 1 through 20, is a level. Everything here should be significant, so you're just not handing out levels. You should never feel like you are just handing out levels. It's fairly priced. It's exactly like eating at grandma's. Does she tell you to eat up? You're so skinny. Hey, put some meat on your bones. How do you do mass combats in D&D? Alright, there are... Maybe I should just make a show of this. I developed a system that uses playing cards. It uses your character sheet and playing cards in order to run mass combat. There are unearthed arcana rules for mass combat also. Others might run mass combat as a skill challenge, and others might just narrate a mass combat style scenario. There's a couple different ways you can go about mass combat in D&D right now, Romonger. 40k in so much that it's kind of like squad versus squad. Or you have one figure on the board that might represent, it might represent 25 to 50 figurines underneath it. You agree with Dark Wolf on the Mesomasca Raid idea? It's the same thought I had when I mentioned needing a name for the campaign. Hey, that's fine, Clark. You two are combining your Wonder Twin powers, and we can call it that. No. No, oftentimes squads are just represented by one mini that is supposed to be, you know, between X and Y minis. That kind of a thing. There probably is, Bubonic. I think there's a 3.5 rulebook on everything. Now, along the way, as we as DMs are hitting these different plot points, we need to be cognizant of which character we're trying to highlight within that part of the story. Just wait until Colville's Kickstarters get published. I'm sure that mass combat will be in there. It would look quite awesome, Romonger. For instance, if we look at... So this first part is really, like, it's kind of about Grimhilder. And King would probably agree. I mean, many things should be. Right? This is a Grimhilder goal. And we have a bit of a... We have a bit of a breakup, right? Because here we have this. And then we have a BBEG that appears. And in fact, this could even be this could be a character whose persona, like maybe not the actual identity, but maybe this is someone that Lentilli or even Bess know. Let's say that that Bess knows this character because she's a smarty and she's looking out for knowledge. And we can say that this relic had something to do with her quest for this kind of a medicine or a curative. So Bess is going to get green here. And so now the spotlight is on her, and there's a lot of things that she can try and pursue to this goal. And so then this is kind of Bess time right here. So Bess helps defeat the BBEG, only to learn that now we know it's is that showing up all right for you guys? That might be a little bit dark. There we go. Because he knows his fellow urchin, not just the facade that the urchin had put up. And so now we have the BBEG. Wait, he's not the BBEG? There's stuff going on greater in the world? Well, this seems like a Raqami thing, right? She's in the College of Lore. She's studying. She's looking for spiritual significance. She's picked up so much stuff along the way. All of a sudden, we come over, and here's a Raqami situation. And, you know, she would lead us into here. And finally, we get this kind of unifying presence here. I'll kind of just put it in gray. And then we'll end up having an epilogue in gray too. And here, right? We have Lentili, who follows Raqami out of a possibly romantic pursuit. This whole time, no, we shouldn't do this. This is dangerous. This is distracting us from our hermitage, from our learning. And so the tension, the bonding, the test of skills outside of combat, this is because everyone else is aboard, the spotlight falls on the naysayer. And the naysayer here, the person riding the brakes, is Lentili. And so we can give her her own highlight as well. Oh, not yellow. I was already using yellow. And so here, we've just made a story where each of these areas, right, we can almost say that that the content for each of these parts is going to first be offered or will play to the strengths, boom, of the person we're trying to spotlight for those couple levels. So if we want Lentili to step up in the beginning, we should know about Lentili. Who is she? What are her goals and motivations? You know, we come over and we look at her personality. Look at this. Why would she be a great opener? Live and let live. Meddling in the affairs of others only causes trouble. I told you, I told you, I told you, I told you. Okay, so Colville's... I'm sure that Mass Combat will be in there. Oh, for the Colville book. Rose says, Romonger backed that project. Oh, I would, but I'm broke. Omega lol. Omega lol. Lol, lol, lol. So, bada boom. There we go. Forget about it. Look at this. We've featured parts of the campaign that jive with everyone. Everyone is getting the spotlight in some way. There is still tension along the way. There are still things that each of the players will become interested in. And this is allowing you then to say, you know, in this case, we'll just say that this is info gathering. And then the pursuit is going to be a dungeon, and we'll think of the dungeon kind of a thing. And then the path to conflict, since we know where the artifact is and recover it, actually this would probably be really good for a dungeon of some kind. So the pursuit could be... Oh, hi. Maybe we want this to be a skill challenge. Though in the next portion, right? Betrayal, nay, is 'tis stolen by the BBEG. As we reorganize, this might actually be some kind of a fight. And I guess I'm not showing up too well on camera. Hi. And so after the fight, when all the bodies are left, you start going through them, and sure enough, there's notes left behind and other things. That's our reorganization, even though it's done through a fight. And then we have the pursuit being... maybe a focus on social skills. Because we have a charismatic leader that's stepping up and is willing to take the lead in this case. And path to conflict could just be... the path to conflict could be another fight, but what kind? Maybe this is... you want to run them through a gauntlet of several random encounters that reflect the current state of things. And after they beat some arbitrary number, they beat 3 random encounters, hopefully they're paying attention and drawing conclusions about what's going on along the way. You say, okay, you beat the 3 and now you've arrived at the location. So you can see plotting out a story, especially for a 20 level long character development story arc, isn't too difficult to do. You let your players tell the story. Your PCs are co-DMs. Let them give you... Boom. Grimhilder has this aspiration. She's going to keep driving forward, even if it kills her. Preferably other people, but even if it kills her. Your players will provide you so much content to run. It's then just up to you to make sure that you're filling in the gaps and you're doing so in a meaningful fashion. Yeah, you guys got you got a little bit of the pink eye. Delcorin goes into the plains. Is it a rabbit? You attack with disadvantage with a +1. Oh, disadvantage again. Hey, hey, Delcorin, welcome to King's World. King's World! King's World! Party time! Excellent! A 2 and a 9. Oh, the goblin got you, Del. Yep, oof indeed, Clark. No more randoms for me tonight. Your dachshund likes to lay on your head when you're watching your tablet. He's saying, give me attention. Oh, that's cute, Bubonic. My family used to keep a dachshund named Boris. My grandparents really liked the German tennis player Boris Becker, and so when they got a dachshund, they named him Boris Barker. King's World was AFK. Well, that's okay. We'll just go back in time. Oh, snap. Look at that. Jam Jam. Jam Jam reigning supreme on the leaderboard. Delcorin comes back as a male gnome monk. You could come up with little, like, Inspector Gadget things for your tinkers, Delcorin. Or your kind of like Data from the Goonies, right? So you sort of like open up your gi and like a little punching, like a boxing glove on a spring kind of goes boing and bops someone for a point of damage or something. Jam Jam, can I has? Bobicus is not okay with you being a gnome, Delcorin. You're going to have to do something about that. Oh, King, betting 1,000 going into the Underdark. Normally with a +5. Oh, no. King. A roper gotcha. Oh, gosh. Here, King, I feel kind of bad. I will give you 50 EXP for a res, please. There you go, man. That's gotta be messy. You just try and recover from that. Arc Commander, sorry I can't stay. Hope you guys have fun. Just dropped in. That's cool. Thank you for stopping in, Arc, even if it's just for a minute and going out of your way to say so. Awesome. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you. You know, celebrate responsibly, have fun with friends, and when you have a chance to talk more, come back and join us. Share your own tales from the tabletop, ask questions, and just go along. Go along for the ride, too. But anyway, have a good night, Arc Commander. I thought Delcorn was referring to King, not typing up his screed. Jeez. That's right, King. You have a huge charisma buff. And one fine other stat. And you know what? All right, so from here, we're pretty much done with this segment. We've gone over how you can make it interesting to all the party members, spotlight them, get them involved. How you can repeat the cycle, but while the cycle continues, you can vary the content. And then you can also add extra details as you're making this outline for your story. In this fight, you can make a note saying that learn about the history of the Nereid. I don't know, maybe there's Nereid in the water. Merfolk of some kind. And they'll learn the name of a major NPC, and then that NPC, you can say NPC from before, is crucial for this pursuit. And they're going to say, oh yeah, we learned about that guy. Geez, that was 5 levels ago? Oh, it feels like it's been, you know, a couple months. Yeah, I remember him. He's a cool dude. He's helping us get through this. Again, you're planting seeds to reap the harvest later. I can think of another race that gets a charisma buff. Oh, Bobicus, you better watch out. Hey guys, can someone tell me why my BTTV emotes have disappeared? I don't know offhand. I think Delcorin has run into this before, Clark. And if I recall correctly, Del had to reset his... he had to, like, refresh the browser or something like that. Del, can you give some advice to Clark since his BTTV emotes have disappeared? Sounds like kind of what you ran into. Bobicus, actually, I don't think there's a race that gets a charisma buff that I don't have at least a slightly negative opinion of. It's because they're not earning it. Is that right, Bobicus? They're not earning the respect. They're just getting it from their winning smile. Oh, gosh. Now, if we're going to call this the Mesomasca Raid, we should use tenets of raid, and there should be some kind of raids going on, right? A raid or attack here. Maybe they have to raid, or you as a DM are using the word raid a lot, because your PCs won't make anything of the title of your campaign. They may not even know the title. But at the end, almost like the punchline, right? They've gone through 20 levels. They've slogged. They've hurt. They've made crucial moral decisions. People's lives have been lost under their command and because of the things that they've decided to or not to do. But at the end of it all, you know, they sit back and we have this epilogue, and Mesomasca is at least slightly more stable for what it's gone through. The looming threat of war may not be gone for the region at large. And then you say, you know, and then I present to you the Mezzo Masquerade. Oh. I looked it up, and Dragonborn get a +1, and they're cool. And I don't have an opinion about Yuan-Ti purebloods yet. Continues to ponder ways to make Jam Jam lose my #1. Alright, so I'm going to take another quick break, and we'll come back, and we'll keep talking. We have a great conversation going. We can add details to this campaign. We can talk about the party. We can discuss a lot more. If you want to go over maybe specifics, or so what would info gathering really be at level 5? Or where would they be on the map, right? Because you want to make sure you have your map in mind as we're plotting, oh, level 1, level 2, level 3 and 4, and then we're going to go 5 and 6, and then 7, 8, etc. and so forth. We'll just slip right into a short rest here. Whoop, not that. Stop. Bad music.